peace like a river. I've got peace like a river. I've got peace like a river in my soul.
Yeah. So wonderful. Wonderful to have John Whipple here today with us. Thank you. Yes, give him a hand. Yeah. So today is a wonderful opportunity to open our hearts to one of our founders. Deb Thomas is here. She's doing that Licensed Unity Teacher Program, and part of that is her project to deliver message. And so we are in a special position to honor and ask her to come and deliver our message today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deb.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I want to thank a few people before I start so I don't forget. Tom, Ricks, and Jody. These are people who have encouraged me and told me you can do it. And when I wanted to quit, I said, who goes to Toastmasters starts at 72? And they said, you do. So, and also Reverend Sandra, Reverend Gary, and most especially Linda Gillespie, who was my spiritual mentor for years. And she was one of the ones who particularly told me, you don't need to quit. You need to keep going. Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about mindfulness, a daily practice. And the first thing I want to start with is a question for you. Have you ever felt like you were living on autopilot? I'll give you an example. Not too long ago, I'm off on Saturdays. I work, but I'm off on Saturdays, and I always attend an 8 o'clock meeting. It's a women's meeting on Saturday morning. So I got all dressed in my Saturday clothes, and I was driving down the road, and all of a sudden I went, I'm going the wrong way. I'm going to work. Or if you've ever been reading a book, and it might be a book you really like, and all of a sudden your mind is somewhere else. Or talking to someone and realizing I've missed half of what they're saying because I've been sitting here planning my response. Here's another question, though. Have you ever been in a place, maybe with a person, whatever, that you really felt the presence of God? For me, that's the beach. I'm an ex-little junior high and high school surfer, so I spent most of my youth at the beach. I have lots of good stories, but when we went to Port Aransas recently, Pete and I went out to the beach by myself, and I sat in the very shallow water where just the end of the waves would cover my legs, and I was kneading the sand and just staring out over the waves and the horizon and people body surfing, and all of a sudden I realized that I understood on a deep level the analogy between the drop of water and the ocean. For those of you who don't know it, the ocean represents God, Holy Spirit, universal life, whatever you want to call it, divine mind. The drop of water is me and you. We're all a drop of water in the big ocean, and we contain everything that God Spirit contains. And it became real to me and clear to me in that moment. So does anybody have a similar story they would like to share? Or a thought on that? Okay. You will? Okay. Thank you.
As you know, I'm Phyllis. I I travel a lot, and I've seen probably almost every continent except Antarctica. But in it, where I'm with God is when I look out, either if I'm on a plane or doing some type of tour in the area. But when I'm in the mountains, I see these big old mountainous, like huge mountains. Like when I was in Peru, I saw a ton of like just beautiful mountains. Walking Machu Picchu, just being in nature, not doing anything, just walking and trying to keep my mind on what the beauty is that surrounds me in the moment. Those are my God moments. I feel touched by, and in fact, sometimes ideas and things that I could be contemplating something that is either an issue or something I need to think of a solution for. It may not necessarily be an issue, but they come to me in that time because my mind is more on what I'm seeing in the environment than I am on the next thing I got to do, the next place I got to be, and that type of thing. So for me, that's my God moment.
Thank you. That's a great one. Thank you, Phyllis. Anybody else? Tom?
Last year, I spent quite a bit of time up in Colorado at Rocky Mountain National Park, and it was probably the first time that when I was up there, that Jody and I were hiking in, and we had to go in like at 4 a.m, so you're walking with a headlamp, and then by daylight, you're arriving at these couple spots, and both of them, the size of the park in general and just that experience, and I felt so overwhelmed with the presence that it had that moment like you were describing, that it just was just like, this is what it feels like to understand the concept of the divine.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? Yeah.
Sometimes I question if I'm on the right path. And in the morning, I like to go out and water my plants, commune with nature. And something kind of flew by me, and I thought, oh my God, is that a bird? Is it a bat? It's so big, I didn't know what it was. And then I stopped and I looked, and it was the biggest butterfly I have ever seen in my life. And it was so close to my face. And I stopped and I said, thank you, Holy Spirit, for sending me a message. I accept it and I receive it.
Thank you. Thank you. We have time for one more. Somebody else has one. Here. Maybe two more.
I'm very fortunate in that I live in a beautiful place on the Guadalupe River. And every morning when I get up, there's egrets and, blue herons. And it's just stunning. And I look outside and I'm so full of peace. And I say, thank you, thank you, thank you for allowing me to have a place like this.
Thank you for sharing that. Wes?
Yeah, on one of my recent cruises, we went to the island of St. Lucia, and one of the things I always wanted to see was the pitons. And so the pictures look beautiful, and you're driving along, and you see just the lush foliage and everything, and then you stop and you go through a restaurant, and it's just like, oh my, your eyes open up like you're seeing God, because it's just all ocean and these two big, beautiful peaks just coming up out of the ocean.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for everybody for sharing. Okay. And as the psalmist says, be still and know that I am God. I want to talk about my history with mindfulness, which I realized when I was writing this, that it's been popping up in my life periodically for quite a while. In 1972, I moved from the suburbs of Houston to Hippieville, Austin, Texas. It was wonderful. I thought I had found heaven. And at that time, I think I had. And I found a group of hippies to run with, because I was a little middle-class hippie, So I found some more middle-class hippies to run with. And we read a book called Diet for a Small Planet and ate low on the food chain. and carried Ram Dass's Be Here Now with us. I don't know if any of you remember that book, but that was our little Bible. And actually, there's one in the library here, if anybody wants to see what it's all about. And so I incorporated some of the Be Here Now. Then in 1995, I think about, Pete discovered Eckhart Tolle and the power of now. And if you know my darling husband, when he's excited about something, he likes to share it. And share it. And share it. And he did. And so much that I read the book, I started listening to YouTube videos and incorporated, a few other things into my world. Then in October of 2025, I was channel surfing one night and I came upon a news piece about the monks. I don't know if you people remember the monks, but I became obsessed with them. They were marching 2,300 miles from Fort Worth, Texas to Washington, D.C. for peace. And when I tuned into this news piece, they were in a Southern Baptist church. That was their host church. And they were speaking to a large crowd about mindfulness. And I thought, I need to study that when I get some more time. At that time, I was working full-time and taking 2 licensed uni teacher classes. One of those classes required me to turn in a lesson plan for a 1-day seminar on some topic, and I had not been able to come up with a topic. I just kept beating my brain. I was going to find the topic. Well, a couple weeks later, I was in a Whole Foods in Sedona, Arizona with Pete, and we were walking toward the checkout stand, and I turned, and Pete wasn't there. Now, this should have been no surprise to me, because it's happened to me many times in the 30 years we've been together. And I turned and saw him down at the end of the aisle examining olive oil bottles. Examining. And I felt irritation welling up in me. I was tired. I just wanted to go home, take a shower, put on my pajamas, and eat. That was it. I'm always on a mission. He's mindful, I'm on a mission. So I started to walk back toward him, and the still small voice in me said, "Don't let this ruin a beautiful day." And it had been a perfect day. And I walked a little closer to him, and I heard it say, "If you want to learn about mindfulness, watch him. And if you really want to learn about mindfulness, there's your class topic." Bam. Right between the eyes. So I went home and started studying mindfulness even more. And I knew that mindfulness was a big part of Eastern religion, but I didn't know about Christianity. And what I found out is it's a part of Christianity since the beginning. Jesus was always 100% present, be it with the woman at the well, be it with the blind man, or with a crowd of thousands. He was fully 100 present all the time. Think about that. Now, I used to consider myself a champion multitasker. I can do 5 things at once. Now, I didn't stop to think that a lot of those 5 things were only half done, but I was working on 5 of them at a time. And so for a long time, I've used a prioritized task list. And I still get excited when I X off the stuff, particularly if it's in the order of the priority. I get a thrill out of that. But I wanted to know, what else could I do? How else could I incorporate more of this mindfulness stuff in my life? So I came up with a few just tweaks to my life that have made a big difference. The first thing I do when I get up in the morning, before I let my feet hit the floor, I come up with 3 things I'm grateful for. And this sets the tone for my day. I'm much more likely to be appreciative of a phone call from one of my grandsons, or a flower, or my favorite song all of a sudden on the radio. I'm much more likely to be grateful for those things. Number 2 is I pause when I get anxious, angry, overly excited, whatever. When I'm out of balance, I try to remember to pause and take 3 deep cleansing breaths. As I breathe in, I like to think peace in. As I breathe out, I like to think peace out. And I'm telling you guys, it works. Most of the time, I can go back to whatever situation was causing that and not open my mouth when I shouldn't. You know? And handle it with grace. I try to do one thing at a time. One thing at a time. When Pete and I eat dinner, we don't bring cell phones to the table. We don't turn the TV on. We sit and talk with each other. Share about our day. Talk about hopes and dreams. And it's a really important part of our day. So we do that one thing. When someone is talking, and this sometimes is hard for me, but I try to totally focus on what they're saying and not plot and plan up here what I'm going to say when they finally get quiet. And that is probably the most valuable thing that I've learned to do, particularly with my kids and my husband and other people. And really good thing I've started is I'm doing Kundalini yoga with Melanie, and I love to chant. Back when I was running with the hippies, we chanted with the Buddhists, and I think I really enjoyed that. So it's like when we get to chant in yoga, she knows I love it. And I'm even playing the chant sometime when I'm home. But that has helped to balance me. And balance to me is when my human self and my God self are working together. Because I am fully human and I am fully divine. And when they work together, marvelous things happen in my life. And since I've been trying to do these things, I feel less stressed. I'm not as anxious. I can concentrate better. I'm more creative. And I have better relationships. Fall asleep easier too. But I have better relationships with my friends and my family. And so I understand what the monk was saying when he was saying on that newscast, he was saying, a peaceful mind makes a peaceful world. And I know that my being more peaceful through mindfulness practice is a gift to me and a gift to everybody else I encounter. Namaste. Okay. And the personal exploration, I listed the things that I had told you about, the beginning with gratitude and other things. But as I was driving over here this morning, I was listening to Karen Drucker, Holy, 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 and it came to me, you know what? Everybody is different. So you can use some of my suggestions or what I do, or you can research and find some of your own. There's tons of mindfulness meditations on YouTube. There's a walking meditation you can do. Some of you who are nature buffs, where you focus on it. But I'm just going to suggest that you find some things to try to get you in the now, because the now is where God lives. God doesn't live in the past. God doesn't live in the future. God lives right here, right now. Thank you.